On the mountain, he stands unflinching, and the two men can only watch in disbelief, with one murmuring it seems impossible to kill a magic beast of this caliber alone, even as they had just seen him do exactly that. So that's the SS Rancor, the Ice Dragon Emperor. The man in question thinks how noisy it is. It looks like he will have to hide this form again. Tomorrow is an important day and he wonders what kind of future it will lead to. With a smirk, he mutters that he is looking forward to it. Meanwhile, outside the door, a few girls whisper nervously, noticing how different the hallway looks compared to usual. Inside, a young girl sits before an old man and someone informs them that it is the lady from the Orlesian family. That silvery hair, those deep sapphire eyes, that skin akin to a bisque doll. She is just as beautiful as the rumors say. The young Mistress Letitia Orlesian. She is truly the Belle Poupée, that most beautiful doll. The old man shows her the dress she requested, hoping it meets her expectations. To have the lady of the Orlesian family visit their small tailoring shop is a dream come true. She smiles at him and promises to place another request in the future. Her beauty was that of a dream. He was rendered speechless. Her delicate appearance and her quiet demeanor have earned the title of Belle Poupée, the princess doll. But in reality, she bursts into the house, calling out to her father and mother with bright energy, clutching the dress to her chest as she announces her choice for the National Founding Day ceremony. She urges them to admire the stunning, delicate stitching, the exquisite embroidery and the craftsmanship, praising it as truly wonderful. Her mother begins to scold but she stops her with a gentle smile and reassuring words, promising that she has kept her promise to act as the Belle Poupée. In reality, far from being a doll, Letitia was a free-spirited female warrior. She holds the dress out for her mother to see. Her mother says a girl's dress is her armor and this one looks perfect. Although she was concerned because it was a small downtown shop, Letitia tells her mother it is not good to hold prejudices. The size of the shop doesn't define the craftsmanship quality. She will decide whether it is good or not only when she sees it with her own eyes. That is how she wishes to live. With that, she declares she will be looking forward to meeting her future husband tonight. Her mother mumbles she worries her so much. Her husband gently presses her hand on her shoulder and tells her not to worry too much. He then turns to his daughter and tells Letitia Prince Gilbert is known to have difficulties with women. There's talk of him habitually visiting brothels. Is she sure? She smirks and says that is a foolish question, father. This engagement will reaffirm the ties between the imperial family and the Orlesian family. She will ensure that this arrangement will return a favorable result. Her mother tears up and says she has grown up beautifully. But then she points out, isn't Prince Gilbert also known as the Red-Eyed? And then her mother tells her, for the love of God, she should be on her best behavior in public. She smiles and replies of course. Until now, she had to decline proposals from countless houses. Father rejected all of them so she turned 16 without a fiancé. Now she finds herself wondering what kind of person her future husband is. She steps into the glittering banquet hall, the chatter of nobles filling the air and freezes the moment her eyes meet his. Those unmistakable red eyes mark him instantly, the second prince of the Rossmann Empire, Gilbert Rossmann. Without a greeting, he declares that he prefers mature women, no matter her doll-like beauty, he has no interest in her. She only smiles, and he comments that she thinks she can sway all men with a smile, warning her not to lump him in with them. She cannot win him over. She internally thinks what a feisty boy. When she remains silent, his temper flares and he snaps that he doesn't want an art exhibit as a wife. If she wishes to annul this engagement, he will gladly give his signature. He begins to leave and she bows respectfully before him, surprising him. She thinks he is exactly as the rumors portray and makes a mental note to investigate those brothel visits later. Onlookers murmur, appalled, how cruel is the second prince. Even as the emperor's son, with that behavior, he seems an inept heir. She thinks if he brazenly insults people obviously it would result in this, but wonders if he's doing it on purpose. If he really isn't thinking about his behavior, then he's a fool. That said, his face isn't half bad. Beautiful things have worth simply by being beautiful. Very well then, she will appreciate his worth as an art exhibit. Whether her husband is an art exhibit or not is no issue to her. He turns his back on her, curtly declaring that their greetings are over. Yet she trails after him, her steps quiet but persistent. He spins around, glares sharp enough to cut, only to find her offering a sweet, unbothered smile. His silence stretches, and she wonders if the pressure is already too much for him. Despite that, she can tell by how he picks up his glass, contrasting his disheveled clothes, there is grace in his mannerism. One's true nature seeps through subconscious behavior. He must have been truly disciplined. Or rather, he chose to discipline himself. He finally asks how much longer does she plan on following him around. They are not little ducklings. She giggles at his choice of words. He turns his face toward her, remarking that she can laugh if she pleases, it makes no difference. What does matter, he adds, is that she stopped following him. Yet with the way he half turns as if to hide his face, she can't help but wonder if he's flustered. He is quite chaste for someone who supposedly has women problems. Makes her wonder if those rumors are even credible. She realizes it is not good to believe everything at face value. People whisper about her as the poor Belle. They say that even if she marries into the family, the Duke only treats his daughter as a tool. The Orlesian family is ruthless. She finds it irritating, wishing people would mind their own business, and then looks at him. He doesn't seem to care. She wonders if the opinions of others truly don't concern him, or if he's simply grown used to them. If he is used to this kind of treatment, then there's no surprise that he has such a bitter personality. After all, he is the cursed prince. All at once, he turns on his heel and heads for the exit. She darts after him, but he says his mood has soured, so he's leaving. Where to? She calls. He counters if she's heard the rumors, then she should already know. A place no woman would ever enjoy. But then he half turns, a smirk tugging at his lips. Still, if she insists on following, he wouldn't mind taking her there. To his shock, she suddenly clings to his arm. He hadn't expected her to actually take the offer. But she thinks this is her chance to confirm her suspicions. She can escape from this party and clear her suspicions about him. There's no reason for her not to go. He lets out a sigh, already regretting it. She now finds herself seated between two charming women who offer her a plate of fresh fruit, and she blinks at the scene around her in a daze, pretty girls on both sides gushing over her silky smooth hair. What is this place if not heaven? Soft and comfy sofa, yummy fruits, pretty ladies left and right. She might even end up staying here forever, just cannot resist it. While poor Albert sits across from her completely ignored, and she only smiles brighter, basking in adoration as though she has stumbled upon paradise itself, even musing half seriously, if she actually becomes Prince Gilbert's wife, could she come here more often? Surely being a regular here must be one of the perks, and Albert, watching her with a twitching brow, mutters under his breath, what's with her? Her infamous husband doesn't seem to be having fun with the beauties by his side. Actually, he seems pretty disinterested. He is literally observing the interior. It's a dimly lit room with a cozy atmosphere. Couples holding hands who occasionally go behind that door and disappear. She supposes that hints at the nature of the establishment. Although most customers are here to socialize over a nice meal. She thought this place would be riddled with all sorts of sin, but it lacks obscenity. She was proven wrong in a good way. Alicia asks Gilbert why did he bring Lady Belle to a place like this. He announces she is his fiancée as of today. Alicia freaks out and blurts Lady Belle shouldn't worry. Okay. Sir Gilbert has never touched a girl here. Gilbert mutters not to waste her breath saying such pointless things. He stands, announcing that the engagement won't last much longer anyway. The doll princess of the Orlesian family has no reason to marry him. Or perhaps, he grips her chin, tilting her face up as he murmurs, is it for a conspiracy? Was she told to eliminate him? His deep crimson eyes up close, they captivate her gaze with such noble shimmer. Their beauty surpasses any jewels she has laid sight upon. She might lose herself in them. Suddenly, he jerks back, his expression tightening. Seriously, what's wrong with her? Don't look at him like that. She only smiles, as if helpless to resist, and replies his eyes are beautiful. His body stills, the word striking deeper than it should. Beautiful, he repeats, almost disbelieving, and tells her not to lie to him. These wretched eyes, he despises them so much he wants to gouge them out. And she? Deep down, she must find him disgusting too. After that, he abruptly turns and disappears behind the doors. She thinks the claim that he had never touched the brothel girls was a sugar-coated lie. There must have been someone waiting on him behind those doors. She is not so narrow-minded as to find slight cases of cheating absolutely unforgivable. She understands that he has lived with circumstances that would prevent him from forming any attachments. When she found out about her engagement with Prince Gilbert, she read through documents and stories about his curse. A traitor who attempted to overthrow the royal family. A lunatic who poisoned his brothers to seize the throne. A foolish king who caused wars in the name of love. 3 of the imperial family who caused the country's downfall had one trait in common. They were all born with red eyes. That trait was an anomaly. Even if the parents had ordinary eye colors, for some inexplicable reason the mutation occurred periodically. At first, people jeered it as mere coincidence. But as it continued, the coincidence turned into fear. Eventually the ones with eyes red like devil's blood were branded cursed. To Letitia, it's nonsense, nothing but a twisted tale. The curse of the red eyes is nothing more than a superstition. Every terrible act of violence was caused by their difficulty in expressing their emotions and poor childhood. If they had someone to tenderly care for them, they wouldn't have done this. Instead they were outcasts, forced into isolation. They were feared because of this curse. She wonders how did people not get they were only making it worse. Throughout history, were all the kings and aristocrats just fools? Suddenly, Laura pulls Letitia to her side, whining that Alicia is too mean and that she wants a pampered Lady Belle for herself. But Alicia tugs her back, insisting that she was called to this table and that she'll keep her company until Sir Gilbert returns. With that, the other girls wave and leave. Alicia admits normally they wouldn't be at the tables unless they were called for. However, Sir Gilbert was the savior of this parlor, thus everyone naturally flocks to him. Laura adds this place used to be really bad. But Alicia calls out to her, saying she shouldn't discuss the parlor's private matters in front of others. Letitia, however, fixes them with her large, expressive eyes and entreats, "Please, won't you tell me?" Laura falters at once, powerless before such loveliness. Laura exclaims if she's willing to hear it from her, she would happily tell her everything. But Alicia tells her to calm herself down, reminding her the sweet, beautiful, lovely Lady Belle is a member of the Orlesian family. The commoners are not allowed to touch her in the first place. Even though she has been touching her this whole time. She then gently apologizes to her, saying Laura isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. They finally admit that this parlor was a gang hangout. Laura then asks has she ever heard of the mercenary knights. Letitia nods. Independent knights who hold no loyalty to any nation. They accept various requests such as escorting and magical beast extermination. Although they are generally referred to as mercenary knights, there are actually many different subcategories. There are only a handful of SS rankers per country. Their level of strength is enough to make knights commanders bow. On the other hand, low-level rankers earn very little. Many of them are uncouth individuals. Most of their patrons in the past were low rankers. In any world, their behavior couldn't be described as acceptable. Laura admits those were rough times, but then Prince Gilbert made his appearance. He sat in the parlor's eye-catching center seat, making the atmosphere around the room so elegant they could mistake it for a royal palace. She was so relieved when those thugs shamefully left. She adds the royal name's influence truly is amazing. After that, the parlor gained a reputation for being establishment-worthy or Prince Gilbert's patronage. As a result, they became more popular with high-profile customers. They even managed to renovate the place. Thereafter, Sir Gilbert visited them frequently. And at times, he would even give her tips on how to serve the customers. Suddenly, Alicia tells her to stop and says to Letitia they may be presumptuous but let her speak on behalf of Sir Gilbert's honor. She declares Sir Gilbert has never done anything to the brothel girls. Nothing of the sort. Letitia nods eagerly, relieved at the thought, so no bedroom activities after all. Judging by Laura's pure innocence, it seems that she truly wishes to highlight Gilbert's goodness. The tips she received are probably on etiquette, conversation skills, and the like. Alicia then whispers although he acts brash, Sir Gilbert is kind and he is a gentleman. This lady says such nice things about him. It seems that her husband is quite the character. They feed her chocolates, but suddenly Gilbert appears, scolding them not to spoil her with sweets. Holding a dish in his hand, he asks if they want the doll to grow plump and round. She blinks at the plate, wondering what it is. A meticulously put-together crescent moon with a beautiful golden hue without a single bun mark, all garnished with a bright red tomato sauce. What an appetizing omelette. She wonders if he got to the back in order to request this dish from the chef. She pouts, tempted to eat it too, when her eyes catch the second plate in his hand. Alicia, quick to notice, asks if that one is meant for Lady Belle. Flustered, he replies he didn't order it for anyone specifically. He just happened to order it, that's all. Letitia thinks it was for no reason then. Her eyes follow the plate as he puts such a delicious dish right before her eyes. It's like he's trying to torture her. She wishes she ate something at the party. He suddenly says he bets she was too busy staring at him and didn't even eat a single thing. That's why she's so scrawny. He quietly adds she should eat better. A smile lights up her face as it hits. His way of being kind is in the form of consideration. Laura lifts the dish and urges her to open her mouth with a playful, "Ah." Gilbert snaps at her, telling her not to treat Letitia like a child, surely she knows how to feed herself. Laura only murmurs it's her job. Letitia forces a nervous smile and reminds herself to behave. She can almost see Laura's ears and tail drooping, but she supposes that shows how much she cares. With that thought, she takes her first bite and is instantly delighted. Where do she even begin to describe this flavor? The sweet taste of the meat spreads through the fluffy egg. The tomato sauce accents the rest of the dish perfectly. She could eat this for the rest of her life. The parlor has such a wonderful chef. Gilbert watches her as she eats before muttering to himself as expected of the doll princess, her etiquette is impeccable. She thinks she can almost hear him, he's not the type to say things outright. Still, she can't deny that side of him is oddly cute. Turning back to Laura, she exclaims that the omelette is absolutely delicious and that she must thank the chef. Laura only smiles and reveals that Sir Gilbert himself prepared the dish. She momentarily freezes in shock. He says it's nothing really, he just felt like cooking and she can just leave it if she doesn't like it. She watches him, surprised. He just felt like cooking. With a small smile, she exclaims actually, it's very delicious. Is that so? He asks and says it's a relief. He then begins eating himself. She watches him, thinking how unbearably cute he looks. Cute men might be her type, but his cooking skills are hardly born of happy origins. They stem from the poisoning attempt of the second prince. It was a scandal that shook the entire empire. Even now the culprit's identity is still unknown. They left behind a large trail of clues, yet they remain on the run. Thus the culprit must be someone with significant influence. Logically speaking, there must be a part of the royal family. Ever since that day, the prince never ate anything he didn't cook himself. At the party, he never brought the glass of wine to his lips. His decision to cook for himself was a result of his distrust in others. He doesn't even have a single bodyguard. Even if he doesn't like having other people around, he should still have at least one. It's as if there's someone who wishes for his demise. I just felt like cooking, those words have a deeper meaning, carrying an incredible weight. In that case, Letitia resolves to shield him from any more pain, while also approaching as tenderly and carefully as possible. She jolts back to her senses when Laura suddenly says Belle belongs to the Orlesian family, doesn't she? And asks, has she heard of the Emperor of the Frost Dragon? She replies no. They say he has silver hair that shimmers under the moonlight. His eyes are as blue as cold sapphires and everything about him is shrouded in mystery. He is an SS-ranked mercenary knight whose fame skyrocketed like a meteor. No one knows his real name or origins. It is said the Emperor of the Dragon's silver hair is so beautiful, which is why there are so many rumors linking him to the Orlesian family. Smiling, Letitia lets out a soft, really? She smiles back at Bella and says it is unlikely that a noble lady like Belle would be interested in mercenary knights and apologizes for her intrusion. A small smile tugs at Bella's lips as she thinks to herself, so it was her silver hair. Interesting. Laura then gives a quiet look at Gilbert and asks what does he think of the Emperor of the Frost Dragon. Gilbert replies despite all these rumors, he remains completely anonymous. This level of secrecy suggests he might just be a plaything for some noble or perhaps not human at all. She looks surprised and mumbles really. Dismissing him outright, Gilbert mutters, his excessive mystery makes him highly suspicious and accuses him of being someone shady. Laura tells him not to say such things just because Belle is here. Male jealousy is unbecoming. He flinches at the accusation and blurts what? He is not jealous. The raised voices draw the attention of the nearby men. One of them turns and Alicia's face pales as their eyes meet. He smirks and steps closer. How are you, Alicia? He asks. She asks him what he wants, reminding him that if he intends to enter, he must first register at the reception. He slams his foot on the table and lifts her chin with one hand, grinning. Doesn't that sound boring? He came all this way just to see her. Letitia glares at him, thinking how inappropriate his behavior is, but shakes her head, forcing herself to stay calm. She turns back to Laura, asking who they are but then notices the girl's trembling frame and wide, fearful eyes. It's not a simple matter. Bella gently holds her hands, snapping her back upright, and assures her she is right here with her. Laura takes a deep breath before murmuring they are low-ranking knights who used to be regular patrons. But after the place's rating increased, they could no longer afford it and she hasn't seen them for a long time. And because they were sometimes violent, she felt relieved at their absence. Letitia thinks it doesn't seem like they gathered the money to enter the place. Why are they showing up now? Suddenly, Gilbert steps forward, positioning himself in front of Alicia and asks sharply, do they realize in front of whom they're behaving this way? Bella's thoughts race, the prince himself is intervening. In this country, class distinctions are sacred. She doesn't think the chaos will last longer. But then the man lunges forward, seizing Gilbert's hand and says confidently he knows that very well, Prince Gilbert. Gilbert looks shocked and Letitia's eyes go wide, thoughts spinning. Is this possible? He's from the royal family. Alicia steps forward, warning sharply that touching him is strictly forbidden and demands he let go, adding that she will handle the matter herself. Gilbert, however, motions for her to step back and addresses the man directly, saying his actions have crossed the line and he will face the consequences. The man lets go of Gilbert's hand with a dramatic flourish and remarks that it is a terrifying matter but wonders aloud who will punish them, noticing there are no guards around. Letitia thinks she should have brought someone from the Orlesian family, but quickly decides she can handle this herself. She steps behind Gilbert and questions what he is doing. He glances at her briefly before allowing her to stand beside him. The man comments that it is a wise move, claiming he believes in gender equality. But the prince scoffs, so what if there are no guards? He is Gilbert, the second prince of the Rossman Empire, and that will not change. He asks them, do they now realize in whose presence they commit this disgraceful act? The girls watch nervously as the men exchange glances, then burst into laughter. The man remarks that of course they do, since his arrival, the place has changed so much that they can no longer approach it. Suddenly, he grabs Gilbert's face, adding that it has become far too difficult, which makes the situation extremely annoying. So they have decided to challenge his authority to reclaim their position in the place once. Both Alicia and Laura look visibly traumatized. Gilbert asks whether they are ready for what might happen and the man dismissively claims that he is. Gilbert warns that approaching the prince could lead to severe consequences, but before he can continue, the man hurls him across the room. Teasing, he remarks that Gilbert truly is an indispensable member of the royal family. Letitia rushes forward and checks over Gilbert, finding no signs of bleeding and no injury to his head. He touches her shoulder, warning her to stay away, but she seizes his hand instead. The man notes that they seem to have a new, very charming young lady and wonders why she doesn't introduce herself. Alicia tells him to stop, clarifying that this lady is Letitia from the Orlesian family. The man pauses, speculating whether she could be Belle Poupée, but then mocks the idea, declaring such lies impossible and inconceivable. Belle Orlesian from the Orlesian family could not be in a place like this. Abruptly, he grabs her face, lifting it up, and asks what she thinks. Would she want to spend some time with him? She thinks his morals are depraved and his appearance revolting. And his barbaric actions against the weak are unbearable. She will not overlook this. But suddenly, Albert reaches out, gripping the man's hand with one hand and holding Bella behind him with the other, instructing her to hide behind him and wait for the right moment to escape. She insists that she cannot do that. He turns toward her, admitting that he never expected to find a fiancée, yet it never occurred to him that Belle Poupée would agree so easily. He smirks, adding that of course, it must be because of her parents' orders. Even so, he is grateful to her. If she doesn't want him, that's fine. He has grown tired of everything. But he won't allow her to get involved because of him. With that, he announces that when they return to the palace, he will formally request to break off the engagement. Then he turns back to face the group, whispering that he does not know if he will make it back safely. But then, he offers a bitter smile and apologizes for making her feel afraid. Evil men laughing as they beat a member of the royal family. Such an act is unforgivable and deserves the harshest punishment. But it seems someone at the heart of the state is protecting them. From the beginning, that target has been the second Prince Gilbert. She realizes it is a trap and someone is aiming to take him down while he is alone. Her eyes burn with fury as the thought strikes her, someone is trying to harm her dear husband. Calmly, she commands the man to let go of his hand. He teases, asking what she said, implying she wishes to be with him. She repeats herself, louder this time. She said, let go of his hand. Is he deaf? Who gave him permission to touch her husband? Suddenly the man hurls him toward her. She bends down to catch Gilbert but fixes her gaze on the man, saying firmly that she should teach him something. Members of the royal family with red eyes often possess intelligence that surpasses physical strength. Him and his kind are unworthy of his attention, so she will deal with them herself. Standing tall, she tells them not to worry and promises they will be fully satisfied. With that, the dragon appears behind her, freezing the room in stunned silence. Even Gilbert left wide-eyed, murmurs Letitia. She says that at last her dear husband has called her by her name. When he begins to speak, uncertain and stumbling over his words, she hushes him gently and urges him to stay behind her. He tries to protest, saying he isn't sure he understands any of this, but she only touches his face with a tender caress and concedes that perhaps he does not. Simply put, she wishes to bear her love for him with every ounce of passion in her heart. At that word, his eyes widen and she continues that she will clean things up here. This is dangerous to Miss Alicia and Miss Laura, so no need to fret, it will be over soon, so he should wait for her like a good boy. Eyes drenched in despair and devoid of any hope. She holds his face and declares she won't let him make such eyes ever again. He leans closer into her hand and she smiles, thinking how lovely he looks like this. But then his eyes snap open, and realization strikes. What is he doing? She watches him as if in a trance, unable to wait another minute nor another second to make him wear that flustered face again and smother him in love. Yet before she can, the man attacks from behind, scoffing at what kind of fool would lower their guard just to flirt. Suddenly, a dragon appears, startling him, and she steps forward beside it and asks if he truly thought his so-called surprise attack could work on her. Too bad for him, her dragons will strike down anyone who dares raise a hand against her. She strokes the two beasts with tender pride, murmuring how good they are, then smiles as her gaze returns to him, remarking that now that she has taken a good look, his face does ring a bell. He is the idiot who caused a violent disturbance which cost him a demotion to an E rank. The man grumbles, demanding who she even is, before scoffing that those ice dragons are just like his. She smirks before bursting into laughter, mocking he still doesn't know who she is even after she has shown all her cards. She was going to interrogate him, but it seems like he doesn't even know the face of his commissioner. He probably only saw the orders and the payment. Those orders must have been stamped with the aristocratic seal, no. That's why they are being used like pathetic little pawns. The man yells what the hell, and asks who is she. Her voice drops, low and dangerous, as she asks was she not clear. She is Letitia of the Orlesian Duchy. They call her Belle Poupée or the Doll Princess. Although she supposes these guys would be far more familiar with this form. Suddenly, a magic circle ignites beneath her, and the transformation takes hold. In the next instant, she becomes a man before their eyes, the Ice Dragon Emperor. She suddenly commands him to freeze and ice lashes out at him. The prince stammers, pointing to the thing on her wrist. It is the Orlesian family heir's loom. She smiles, praising his sharpness, and reveals that, as he guessed, the ring is called the reversal artifact. It allows its user to change their body to the opposite gender. He murmurs why does she have that? She wonders what is with that reaction. She replies no special reason. In order to become a mercenary knight that helps people, this form was more suitable. If she became one as Letitia, her mother would have cried endlessly. She would have argued that she's a girl, why would she want to do such reckless things? Gilbert wavers in dilemma. Didn't she claim she wasn't interested in her as the Belle Poupée? Yet now, does she prefer this form instead? The thought gnaws at him, complicating everything. Should he even be the husband? Before the doubt can settle, she lifts her hand and ice bursts forth, slamming everyone against the wall. She smiles faintly, surveying the room. What a splendid view. The man snaps, did she foresee their plan and disguise herself as the doll princess to infiltrate them? She laughs and says an interesting theory, but it cannot be more wrong. As they can see, both the Belle Poupée and the Ice Dragon Emperor are her, Letitia. She just used an artifact to alter her appearance a bit. The man mumbles she cannot just change her gender like that and asks if she was hiding it all this time. She replies there is not any deep meaning behind it. It seemed like Prince Gilbert's influence wasn't enough, so she stepped in. For brutes like them, she figured rather than social power, overpowering them with physical power would be more effective. That's all. She then demands just how thick-skulled can they be. Her husband went out of his way to protect the parlor. As his wife, of course she would assist him. Must he need any further explanation? The man stammers wife. She laughs and says she realizes calling herself his wife in this form is rather silly. She guesses she should undo it. She transforms back into her original form and tells him they should continue their talk now. Her mother feared she wouldn't be able to find a partner in marriage and she was sick of her family's whining, so she kept that form hidden. But now that she has found herself a partner, she will be leaving the Orlesian family. She no longer has any reason to hide. She faces Gilbert and exclaims, "Will you marry me, my dear?" He lowers his gaze, burying his face in his hands, and mumbles if he's good enough for her, even with this curse. But she lifts his face and tells him those eyes are not a curse. They are beautiful. Calling something this beautiful a curse is in poor taste. She admits she heard about him from her father beforehand and she did some of her own research too. But she preferred to make claims after she has seen it herself. And she has deeply fallen for him. A flicker of shock flashes in his eyes at her confession. She adds this is her just opinion, but that curse of his only hurts his ability to depend on others. And feeds his tendency to overthink things. He mumbles she makes it sound so simple. She replies she wants to accept all of him. There's no need to shell in any more and requests him to let her take care of him. She will do everything in her power to grant him happiness. He hesitates to answer and she understands. It is a bit difficult for him to answer when she is being sudden like this. But tells him not to worry, even if he won't let her at first, she will do whatever it takes to spoil him. Flustered, he repeats whatever it takes and blurts what does he mean. She smiles and mumbles who knows what shall she do. And then offers how about they find out how he wishes to be pampered together. He admits that's not a bad idea. Suddenly, the man pinned to the wall by ice mutters, "Can that not wait until later?" She replies unfortunately, she is too busy flirting with her husband. Could he keep his mouth shut in the meantime? Or would he prefer being frozen to death? She turns back to him and asks where were they? How about he tell her what he wishes for now? She insists anything's fine. Whatever he desires, whatever he wants to do, she wants him to say it. So she could make it real. His eyes drop again, sadness flickering through them. He takes her hand and mumbles, almost pleading, if she would pet him please. He wants her to praise him. Tell him he belongs here and to call him a good boy. Pressing her hand in his, he begs again for her to pet his head and tell her he deserves to live. Ever since he was born, his eyes have been feared, forcing him into isolation. The cursed prince never received affection from anyone. What he desires more than anything else is love, and she cannot resist him. She murmurs how adorable. What endearing wishes. Dear Belle Poupée, I want to protect the delicate you. Countless men have said things like that. She would always respond with a cute smile. Ever the doll princess, the embodiment of fake. The true her doesn't have a shred of delicacy. Nor does she wish to be protected. Instead, she would rather protect cute vulnerable boys. But during her time as the lonely Belle Poupée, she never thought she would ever find a husband who would accept her for all she is. It really is unbelievably cute. Warmth rushes through her, a fluttering, unfamiliar feeling she can't quite name. This lovey-dovey sensation makes her chest tighten, and she finds she cannot resist him. She pats his head gently, calling him a good boy, he has worked so hard. From this moment on, she resolves to share his pain and burdens. This is what it means to be a married couple. So he shouldn't treat annulment so lightly. She has made up her mind to protect him for the rest of her life. He murmurs he will never annul their engagement, so please keep him by her side. She exclaims, of course, my dear. She will drown him in her love for eternity. She rises, facing the man with a playful glint in her eyes, and says she has a duty to spoil her dear husband, so she'll be ending things here quickly. He mutters in concern that they'll have no strength left to fight back and wonders what else she plans to do, but she simply tells him to relax, assuring him she's only sending them to the Orlesian Duchy. Her father will be investigating today's matters. She suggests they cough up as much information as they can. She thinks to herself, if she left it to the Imperial Guards, it would be buried by the higher-ups and remain unresolved. Leaving the case to her father, Adolf, is the best decision. They may not discover the mastermind, but they will at least be able to narrow it down. The man, trapped in ice, finally asks how she intends to send them there. She lets out a laugh, calling it a dumb question. That's simple, she replies, and with a mere flick, they are hurled out the window. She remains standing, a satisfied smile on her face. She lifts Gilbert into her arms and asks if they shall go, thinking he should rest since he must be stressed. Glancing at Alicia, she asks if there's a vacant room behind that door. Gilbert stiffens, murmuring the room. And she realizes he has the wrong idea. Don't be scared, she says, and he blurts back that he's not, though he admits that while he does visit the parlor often, he has no experience in this. He drops his gaze, shy, and murmurs if she could be gentle he would appreciate it. She feels her heart soften, thinking he's unbearably adorable. She says when he's making that face, it's really tempting. But for now, she just wants to pamper him. She then adds, wouldn't it be better if they were in private? He quietly asks so they won't do anything. She replies no, she is just pampering him. But his expectant face was amusing though. He blurts out no, that's not what this was. She teases he really is adorable. She turns to the girls and politely says they'll be taking a room for now and asks them to excuse them. The girls watch them with flustered faces. They were surprised to hear that Gilbert's fiancée was the Belle Poupée, but it seems that won't be a problem. Alicia admits it is the first time she has seen the prince make that face. She is jealous of Sir Gilbert. Laura completely agrees. The next day in the garden, she flips through her notes, thinking this has become a bit troublesome. Just then, Gilbert appears and apologizes for keeping her waiting. He says he baked some cookies for today's tea time, holding out a small tray. He tried to make them to her tastes, or at least, he hopes he did. She thanks him and exclaims she is looking forward to it. He hesitates a moment before asking if anything is troubling her. She replies not really, just a letter from home. She will discuss it later. Right now, this is more important. He murmurs that is suspicious. Is he her number one? She laughs softly and kisses his temple. Of course he is. He flushes slightly, and she teases, is he still shy? That's what makes him truly adorable. But then his gaze softens, tinged with sadness. He asks if he gets used to it, will she dislike him? She replies impossible, if he gets used to it, she will just be even more forward with him. He jerks back, more than this. She just smiles thinking how cute her husband is, simply too adorable. The two of them were no longer just fiancés. Now they were officially a married couple. It had been a few days since the founding day celebration when Gilbert went to the palace to explain an incident at the brothel. When he stepped into His Majesty's room, Duke Orlesian and his daughter were already there. His Majesty began to ask if he knew the Duke and his daughter, but before he could continue, Gilbert swiftly moved to hug Letitia, saying he had worked hard on his duty. She replied warmly, "Well done, such a good boy." The words hung in the air, and both His Majesty and the Duke exchanged stunned glances, frozen by the unexpected display. After a brief pause, they shook hands, the weight of the moment settling in as the marriage was formally finalized. And so within a week of their engagement, they became husband and wife. Now, with the dishes spread before her on the table, he explains that this one is a crisp, flavorful Florentine, and that one is a snowball cookie that simply melts in the mouth. The heart-shaped one has strawberry jam in the center. And that one is a chocolate chip cookie. He remembers she loves chocolate, so he even made chocolate-dipped ones. He asks her which one will she try first. When she laughs, he hesitates, asking if he said something odd. She says no, it is just, didn't he say he preferred more mature and elegant women? He admits he did, that's true. But standing here in front of her now, none of that matters anymore. And he admits he was wrong about that. She smiles and tells him not to worry about it. She was pretending to be a cat too. Though he doesn't think it was at the level of a cat. She suddenly grabs a cookie and pops it into her mouth. Gilbert frowns, protesting, he was going to feed her himself. Throwing his earlier words back at him, she smirks and says Laura shouldn't treat Letitia like a child, surely she knows how to feed herself. He pouts, admitting, today she is being mean. She bursts into laughter, waving it off. She is just teasing him. Her laughter fades, and her tone turns more serious. By the way, she says, there's been a bit of a problem. And she might need to leave his side for a while. He admits that it's tough to hear, but if it is about her father, the Duke of Orlesian, and the rumors of his downfall, then it should be resolved soon. Looking surprised, she asks he noticed. He replies of course, the Orlesian family, known for secretly controlling the country, became relatives of the imperial family. This makes them a threat to those who want to get rid of the cursed Prince Gilbert. And those who want him gone will try to discredit her family from within. A maid steps forward, bowing slightly. Apologies for the interruption, but a letter has arrived for Lady Letitia. Letitia takes the letter, glancing at the seal, and sees it is from her father. Gilbert leans closer, asking, what does it say? She replies everything's fine now. He frowns, murmuring, if he doesn't trust himself, there's no point in making any moves openly. He must make sure no one realizes they are being manipulated. He will make everyone dance in the palm of his hand. A peaceful resolution, right? He is good at strategy games. Honestly, Letitia admits, she knew he was sharp, but he is a frightening husband. He replies he doesn't want even a single second of his time with her to be interrupted. He will do anything for that. He then teases she can compliment him more. She says well done, he's such a good boy. He replies he is so happy he is melting. She teases, is he trying to make her a widow? Out of the blue, he suddenly calls her name and asks will she stay with him forever? Or has she started to hate him or anything like that? But, she replies, who else could make him as happy as he does? And the food he makes is incredibly delicious. She cannot be satisfied with anyone else now. Both her body and her heart cannot be separated from him. She turns to him and smiles, saying it is true that he has captured her heart through her stomach. He mumbles he's glad he didn't compromise and worked hard to improve his skills. He then says if she doesn't mind, he wants to continue making her food just for her. A person's body changes little by little every day. The skin, the blood, the muscles, and the bones too. He wants to be the one who shapes her with the things he creates. Always by her side. She laughs softly and murmurs her husband is truly adorable. But whether she will listen to him depends on the situation. She will make her best effort as well. Suddenly, something darts by, and her dragon springs after it, devouring it in a flash. She strokes the dragon, murmuring it's an attack, seems quite a bit of magic was compressed there. To resort to force just because the covert approach failed. Turning to Gilbert, she says firmly, she is by his side. Trying to attack her with such childish tricks is naive. She swears she will protect him with her life. She leans in closer, telling him not to worry and not to be afraid, she will always be by his side. He smiles, eyes full of warmth and love. She adds, as his wife, she will honor all his wishes and thoughts and do everything to make them come true. If he wishes to reign as emperor, she will help him achieve it. But she doubts that is something he wants. He admits she is right. He thinks he would prefer a simple life in a small house with her. She giggles and says that seems harder than sitting on a throne. But it is not that bad and asks him will she stay by her side until the end. He meets her gaze with unwavering confidence, replying that even beyond death, he wishes to remain by her side. She laughs, saying that's heavy my dear, but that's what makes him so lovable. To others, it might seem like their future is full of obstacles. However, with Letitia's strength and Gilbert's intellect, they will complement each other's weaknesses and overcome all obstacles and live happily together. This is the story of a newlywed couple. Good morning, Gilbert. Good night, Gilbert. How are you, Gilbert? Such simple greetings, and yet they saved him countless times. He was the only person who treated him as just another human being. Because of him, he was able to keep moving forward. Because of him, he was able to hold on to himself. Because of him, he didn't fall into hatred for this world. And now he has been blessed with more happiness than he can hold in his hands. He thanks him. No matter how much he expresses his gratitude, it will never be enough. It's painful to know that he may never have the chance to tell him this in person. They receive a letter for the Crown Prince Christoph celebration party. Letitia admits she has met him before, but they've never really had a proper conversation. Gilbert apologizes for dragging her into this. But she asks him what is he saying. His Highness is Gilbert's elder brother. It's only natural for her as his wife to attend. Christoph Rossmann, the next heir to the throne and Gilbert's half-brother. Today, a grand party is being held to celebrate his remarkable achievements. But she must say, having this during dinner time is a bit unfortunate. She's already missing Gilbert's home-cooked meals. Gilbert smiles and promises once they get back, he will make plenty of her favorite dishes. But then a man calls out to Gilbert and says His Majesty the Emperor is calling for him. Gilbert says right now, cannot it wait? He cannot leave his wife alone. But the man insists His Majesty is saying that it's urgent. She tugs on his sleeve and says it is all right, he can go to His Majesty. When she hesitates, she pulls him closer and whispers it's okay, she will be a good girl and wait for her husband to return. He smiles and says understood, he will be back soon. Later, seated before His Majesty, his red eyes sharp and unyielding, he asks so, what is it that he wishes to discuss with him? On a day like this, instead of calling for Prince Christoph, he specifically wanted to see him. He has to question his judgment. He also claims he has already repaid his debt to His Majesty more than sufficiently. His Majesty finally speaks, telling him not to be too harsh. He says with all due respect, this is a day of celebration, shouldn't he be at the party? His Majesty replies every year his Empress gets so enthusiastic, so it is sure to be a dazzling affair. Gilbert says in that case, shouldn't they hurry up? But His Majesty counters, isn't it precisely because of a day like this? The brighter the light, the darker the shadows. While everyone's attention is on Christoph's achievements, it is the perfect time to discuss certain unpleasant matters. Gilbert groans inwardly, sensing a real pain, and rises, saying he refuses, he wants to return to his wife as quickly as possible. But His Majesty calls after him, urging him to wait, saying they need his intellect for this. He presents a blank page marked with AV and asks if Gilbert is aware of the matter. Gilbert guesses it involves the magic stones and the Weiss Republic. His Majesty says so he does know. Gilbert replies it's hardly something worth keeping secret. Magic stones. As the name suggests, they are stones infused with magical powers. Normally, they're used to enrich people's daily lives. But they are also a crucial material for crafting weapons of war. Incidentally, Letitia's reversal magical tool is a rare type of stone. Unlike simple tools that create fire or water, magic tools have intricate spells caved into them, allowing them to cause special phenomena. Due to their rarity, such stones are classified separately and called magic tools. For the people of this world, magic stones are an essential resource. The Rossmann Empire is one of the world's top producers of magic stones. And right now that is becoming a problem. It all started with a rumor that the Weiss Republic was planning to start a war with a neighboring country. In response, an international conference was held and it was decided that all exports of magic stones to Weiss would be banned. However, it appears that some nation is secretly violating the treaty and smuggling magic stones to Weiss. And now the Rossmann Empire, with its abundant supply of magic stones, is under suspicion. In short, His Majesty wants Gilbert to come up with a way to prove their innocence. He says proving they didn't do anything. It's like proving the devil doesn't exist, and suggests rather than wasting effort on that, why not simply earn the unwavering trust of the other nations himself? But His Majesty states this isn't as simple as he thinks. Gilbert flips through the pages and comes across an investigation report. There is a high possibility that the ones attempting to smuggle magic stones are not external enemies but individuals within the Rosman Empire. His Majesty says the smuggling hasn't happened yet. But if they fail to stop it, the consequences will be severe. If they lend a large-scale investigation, the culprits will flee. And since the prime suspects are within their own ranks, the number of people they can truly trust with this matter is extremely limited. His Majesty pleads with his son, insisting he needs his help. Gilbert ends up laughing, saying he dares speak of trust, asking him, the cursed prince, to handle something so critical, he who is said to be the most capable of bringing ruin to the nation. His Majesty suddenly smiles and says, and here he is, enjoying his blissful newlywed life with Lady Letitia. If there were even the slightest chance of him betraying the Empire, the only possible explanation would be that she's the one who manipulated him. Gilbert snaps, what did he just say? His father ignores his reaction and continues, but given her personality, that's impossible. If she had any grievance against the Empire, she wouldn't resort to such underhanded methods. She would fight head-on, fair and square. The woman he chose as his wife. She is straightforward, strong-willed and full of life, isn't she? With a hint of pride in his eyes, Gilbert replies, that's right. He thinks she's the most incredible, most magnificent woman in the world. His Majesty then slides more papers toward him, saying these list the potential suspects they have identified. Gilbert examines the papers thoroughly, saying he cannot say with certainty that the culprit is among them, though he sees potential leads. He gives his word to investigate, adding that if he feels inclined, he might even tie a rope around the traitor's neck and present them as a gift. His Majesty praises this as a great help, but Gilbert smirks, telling him not to get his hopes up. His Majesty is left stunned as Gilbert departs, leaving all the documents behind, though it likely doesn't matter, as Gilbert probably memorized everything at a single glance as expected of the cursed red eyes, that unparalleled intellect. He spent years wondering how to deal with a child born with those eyes. But now that he has Letitia to keep him grounded, there's no one more reliable. Since their marriage, Gilbert has devoted himself to his official duties, making immense contributions to the Empire's stability. His Majesty knows it is likely that everything he does is just to ensure a peaceful and secure life with Letitia. He really has changed. He may not feel like a father to him, but those eyes, they are so breathtakingly beautiful it sends